You're in round 2 and there's no wide receiver you absolutely love, but then there's Deebo, and you stare at Deebo right in his eyes and you say, young man, can you be second round worthy in 2024? Deebo's answer is,
yes, I can, Smitty.
I can win leagues in round 2. Let's talk about why. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show.
Deebo Samuel is on a tear right now in camp. And guess who's not there? Brandon Ayuk. Guess who's missing ample opportunity to get woven into the 2024 game plan? Keep in mind, you're not just bringing in 2023 into 2024 and everything's copacetic. Everything's exactly where it needs to be. The rapport, the plays, it's all rinse and repeat. No, it's not. It's not. You're constantly creating in the NFL, constantly cooking up stuff, constantly practicing different things. And Deebo Samuel, in one of the most complicated offenses in the National Football League, with all kinds of movement, pre-snap movement, dedicated plays to certain players, he's scooping up everything he can right now, scooping up every opportunity he can to cement himself into glory in 2024. And Brandon Ayuk is sitting on the sideline letting Deebo consume. In fact, I wonder if Deebo's giving him bad advice like, hey, pal, why don't you just hold out for a little longer? Because, I mean, he's benefiting here. What happened when Deebo held out that 1 year and came back really late? He had a bad year. He played really bad. He was not in tune. He was not in shape. And you could say Ayuk's running on the sidelines and he's running and training at home. Doesn't matter. He's not in the exact football shape he needs to be. There's a very, very high probability. Every day we move forward, that probability goes up. But there's a very high probability that Ayuk gets injured or plays badly this year because of the holdout or the hold-in, so to speak. It's the same thing. Deebo Samuel's going to bask in the glory of the opportunity that awaits him. And not only does the opportunity await him, that's in itself really good. The third part that gets me amped up and excited is he looks amazing right now. On top of it all, hands, quickness, feet, involvement, Deebo Samuel is going to explode from his late second or third round, if you're lucky, ADP. And then we got this piece of news today.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So you may have seen the video of Ayuk walking onto the field, right? And he goes and he daps up with Shanahan and John Lynch. And he walks up to John, who's throwing footballs, and shakes his hand, you know, almost as if they hadn't seen each other in a while. And then he proceeds to dap up, everyone's talking about, with Kyle Shanahan in a way that was like different than in a normal, hey, I just saw you yesterday kind of way. Does this mean something's in the works? Does this mean that he's being traded and Shanahan's like, bro, you deserve this, whatever? Or, hey, glad we're getting it done. But it felt like one of the two, right? Not according to Adam Schefter, who came out yesterday and said that didn't mean anything. In fact, Schefter said it's not going great. No end to this insight right now. That's from Schefter yesterday. This report here broke today, backing up that report, saying Coach Kyle Shanahan says there's no updates on the contract situation for either wide receiver Brandon Ayuk or Trent Williams, who is more important than Ayuk for the offense, to be honest with you. Shanahan also acknowledged, according to this report, that the warm hello between Ayuk and himself during Wednesday's practice was just how we usually greet each other. I don't know. We come back to this situation right here, and I say to you, every day Brandon Ayuk misses, he is a injury risk X percentage amount more. Now, what's that percentage? I don't know, but I know that every day is not looking good. On top of that, the likelihood of bad play. This is one of the most key components for the 49er offense in 2024. This is a guy that if someone gets hurt, he gets more work. If a running back room gets decimated, this guy stands up and says, I'll run the ball more. And he does. and he does effectively. This is a guy that stands up and says, wide receivers down, let's design some more plays for me. When people get hurt, he is the first person that's injected into the situation to take on more and more and more volume. This is the most integral part of the Niners offense outside of Christian McCaffrey. Dare I say, maybe equal to Christian McCaffrey's involvement, Deebo Samuel. Brock Purdy would turn into a pumpkin without Deebo Samuel. This is why I say that if a trade was to go down, trading away Ayuk is way better than trading away Deebo. Trading away Ayuk, almost plug and play. Don't get mad at me because he is plug and play to a degree. Ricky Pearsall can replicate 80% or 75% of what Ayuk does. Nobody can replicate even 20% of what this man does. This is one of the best yak yardage wide receivers in the history of the NFL. This is the best yak yardage player in the last decade. Deebo Samuel was not only number 1 in yards after catch in 2021. He was number 1 in yards after contact and broken tackles as well, and also led the NFL in yards per catch with 18.2. Unbelievable. To lead the league in yards per catch, 18.2, when you're doing a majority of your work catching footballs at or behind the line of scrimmage, racking up that yak yardage, yards after catch. That makes sense. You're getting a bunch of passes from Jimmy Garoppolo in 2021 thrown at you at the line of scrimmage or slightly behind, and you're creating all this yak yardage. He absolutely saved Jimmy Garoppolo that year, made people actually think he was a good quarterback. And on top of that, he leads the league in yards per catch. What an unbelievable 2 stats to pair together. Yards after catch and yak yardage, 9, 8, 1, 14, 5 in all of his seasons in the NFL. Yards after contact, 5, 8, 1, 5, 6. And broken tackles, he's been in the top 2 3 years in a row and still has never been outside the top 10. Deebo Samuel is a monster. Deebo Samuel is my favorite wide receiver 1 that has top 5 wide receiver capability that you're barely paying top 10 wide receiver value for. You want a value pick in 2024? His name is Deebo Samuel. If you can, in a non-best ball, because in best ball he goes in round 2, in a non-best ball, get him as your 3rd drafted player, you are winning. You are building a championship team. I'm going to say he pulls in 80 receptions in 2024. We'll call it 255 rushing yards on, I don't know, 50 carries. I'm buying Deebo at every turn in 2024, and I believe you should as well. And this is especially the case in non-best ball, where wide receivers are not being consumed like mad, and you can get him as your wide receiver 1 in a running back, wide receiver build in non-best ball. And in best ball, if he falls to 3.1, 3.2, you go RB, the dreaded RB in best ball, something we do on the channel, and he's your 3.1, 3.4. It happens. It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens, and you are winning. Deebo Samuel, you have been Smitty approved.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Join me every single Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm also live whenever news breaks in addition to that show. And I'm also live most midnights drafting with you or doing some sort of content, breaking news, whatever, most midnights at midnight Eastern. I'll see you all on the 8 p.m. show.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show.